What if committing the perfect murder destroyed you more than getting caught ever could? Fyodor Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment plunges us into the fractured mind of a man who believes he's above morality, only to discover that the human conscience is the most relentless detective of all. Published in 1866, this psychological masterpiece emerged from Dostoevsky's own brush with death and exile. After nearly being executed for political crimes and spending years in Siberian labor camps, he understood suffering intimately. Crime and Punishment became his exploration of guilt, redemption, and whether extraordinary people are bound by ordinary rules, questions that gripped 19th-century Russia and still haunt us today. Meet Rodion Raskolnikov, a broke, brilliant ex-student living in a coffin-sized room in St. Petersburg. He's developed a dangerous theory. Humanity divides into ordinary people who obey moral laws and extraordinary individuals, like Napoleon, who have the right to transgress them for the greater good. To prove he's extraordinary, Raskolnikov murders Alyona Ivanovna, a cruel pawnbroker, with an axe. He plans to use her money for noble purposes, justifying the killing as eliminating a parasitic louse. But nothing goes as planned. Her innocent sister walks in, and Raskolnikov kills her too, a murder he never intended, shattering his entire philosophy. Instead of feeling liberated, he's immediately consumed by fever, paranoia, and psychological torment. He can't even bring himself to use the stolen money. Enter Porfiry Petrovich, the detective assigned to the case. He has no physical evidence but engages Raskolnikov in a cat-and-mouse game of psychological warfare, sussing out guilt through conversation alone. Meanwhile, Raskolnikov encounters Sonya Marmeladov, a young woman forced into prostitution to support her destitute family. Despite her circumstances, Sonya possesses an unshakable faith and moral purity that both attracts and disturbs him. As Raskolnikov deteriorates mentally, torn between confession and denial, Sonya becomes his spiritual anchor. She reads him the story of Lazarus from the Bible, a tale of resurrection and redemption. She doesn't judge him. She sees his suffering and loves him anyway. The noose tightens. Another man confesses to the murders, but Porfiry isn't fooled. He tells Raskolnikov he knows the truth and urges him to confess, not for the law's sake, but for his own soul. Finally, Raskolnikov breaks. At Sonya's urging, he confesses publicly and is sentenced to 8 years hard labor in Siberia. Sonya follows him into exile, and in the prison camps, surrounded by suffering, Raskolnikov begins his true transformation, not through intellectual theory, but through love and suffering. Dostoevsky demolishes the idea that intellect can override conscience. Raskolnikov's theory crumbles because guilt isn't logical. It's existential. The novel asks, can suffering redeem us? Sonya embodies this paradox, degraded by society yet morally transcendent. Her faith isn't naive. It's forged through unbearable circumstances. We also see the danger of ideology divorced from humanity. Raskolnikov treats people as abstractions, lice or Napoleons, and it destroys him. Only when he reconnects with actual human beings through Sonya's love does healing become possible. Ultimately, this is a novel about resurrection. Not just Lazarus rising from the dead, but the possibility that we can rise from our own moral graves. Crime and Punishment invented the psychological thriller. Every detective story, every anti-hero, every exploration of guilt in modern literature owes something to this book. But beyond its influence, it asks questions we still wrestle with. Do the ends justify the means? Can we think our way out of morality? What does it mean to be truly free? Dostoevsky doesn't preach. He shows us a soul in crisis and lets us draw our own conclusions. Subscribe for a new classic every week. Next up, Notes from Underground. Dostoevsky's darkly comedic descent into the psyche of a bitter, isolated man who might just be the most honest narrator you'll ever meet.